So, why Pan Africanism is idiotic? Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Conversation Logical Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, I want to talk about Pan Africanism today. Now, this is a phrase you may or may not have heard, but this is something that's mutually exclusively done from a certain segment of pro-blacks in America. You don't typically see this nowhere else. I'm not aware of it being anywhere else, but these blacks tend to be very Afrocentric. You know, they walk around in African garb, dashikis, other African clothing and attire. You know, they try to have this connection with Africa. You know, they'll call themselves Africans while living in America. You know what I'm saying? They'll take on the African spiritualism as their religion, call upon the ancient spirits. You hear those blacks, I'm going to call upon the ancient spirits, call upon the spirit of Okun, different stuff like that. These are pretty much the blacks that you'll hear saying, talking about Pan-Africanism. And of course, the most prominent person that I'm aware of preaching this Pan-Africanism is none other than the good Dr. Umar Johnson. You know, he's known for saying peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. You know, he's known for that. Now, what is Pan-Africanism anyway? Basically, Pan-Africanism is just simply this concept, the idea that black people all over the world, if you're of African descent, if you're a black person, no matter where you are, okay, no matter if you're in Africa, you're in America, you're living in Scandinavia, that all black people need to have this connection with other black people in the world. We need to establish this camaraderie with other black people everywhere in the world, and not just societally, not just shooting up game to catch up with them, but also economically, that we need to create this economic sector, and blacks need to be practicing all this economics amongst other blacks. Now, here's the problem with Pan-Africanism. Now, there are two issues with black people in America trying to practice this Pan-Africanism. Now, the first issue, and really the major issue, is that it assumes that black people are being barred from participating in economics, either nationally or in whatever area they're living, or globally, that blacks are being barred from practicing economics in the world, and thus we have to practice economics amongst ourselves to survive. Now, this is the assumption with Pan-Africanism, and this is what the race hustlers who are pushing to use to keep black people stuck on stupid as far as race goes. But the problem is that black people aren't being barred from participating in economics globally. And again, I can definitely speak for America, but there's no black person in America that's being held back from achieving anything. Y'all know I always say that there's no job, there's no income, there's no lifestyle, there's no career path. There's no level of income that a black person in America can attain because they're black. But if you want to attain that, you have to participate in the economic system that everybody is free to participate in. So why would you create a new economic sector amongst yourselves, this new system, nationally or globally, wherever, if you're able to just participate within the system? And not only that, but even if you participate within the system, you can still practice economics with those black people, but you have to participate in the system. I mean, that'd be like if you hear some black person in America saying that we as black people, we need to build our own roads. We need to build our Pan-African roads, assuming that black people can't drive on the normal roads that existed. But the problem is that black people have just as much access to all the roads, the highways, the interstates in America, as much as anybody. And our tax dollars are already paying for it. So why would you go out here and build new roads for black people, the biggest black roads, when you have full access to the regular roads that existed already? Would you just use the regular roads? And that's how idiotic this Pan-Africanism is. You know, if black people were barred from participating in global economics, then you'd have an argument, but we're not. So why don't you just participate in the economic system they have? Again, I always say, before you can practice group economics, you got to practice economics. Now, the second reason why Pan-Africanism is stupid is that nobody else in the world is really practicing that nonsense. Nobody's trying to hear that. And you don't hear, I've never, to my knowledge, I've never heard any other blacks all throughout the world talking about no damn Pan-Africanism. Again, this is something that you exclusively hear from that sector of pro-blacks in America only. I've never heard it anywhere else. So these people, from blacks from other countries, they're not trying to hear that, because if they migrate to America, and a lot of times they roll up their sleeves, they hit the ground running, and they start participating. Something that black people in America need to do. We need to stop crying and start doing it. And they look at what black people in America are labeling as oppression. They're like, these people are crazy. What? And then blacks in other sectors of blacks, the pro-blacks in America, get upset because these people don't want to participate with blacks in this victimhood. And this is where we get the basis of that rift between, the FBAs and the blacks from other countries. They call them tethers. This is pretty much the basis of that rift, because black people from other countries are not trying to hear this nonsense from black. You're telling me that America is a racist country that's disenfranchising black people? I'm here and I'm not being disenfranchised, and I don't see how you're being disenfranchised. It's just you just bitch moaning and whining. Not that you're being disenfranchised. So why would I be down with that nonsense? So the second problem with this Pan-Africanism is that there's only that small sector in America that's even talking about it. And this is why, again, Pan-Africanism is such a stupid idea, and anybody who follows it is just being idiotic. There is no need for no Pan-Africanism. There is no need for no black people to have to practice economic amongst ourselves because we're being barred from doing it with white people. This is not Jim Crow. There's no Jim Crow world. Now, if there was a Jim Crow world and blacks all over the world were to build the global Black Wall Street, then hey. But the problem is, like I said, there is nobody being barred from participating in global economics. So how about you participate in the economic system that already exists instead of building new roads? Again, if you ever hear these idiots talking about any Pan-Africanism, well, now you know what it is and you know why it's going to fail. And as always, y'all, until next time.